dead. But not after the guy slips the cameraman a roofie. Fuad knocks the dude out and carefully removes the girl's, spleen? No, it's her brains, obviously. Unfortunately, the boyfriend makes for a very rambling witness.
Everything happened so fast.
Well, if he can't remember, might as well pin it on the Zodiac Killer.
Say, what do you make of these murders, Frank? He always kills the same way.
I agree, except for the one girl who had her eye plucked out, the girl with her brains missing, and the legless victim. Other than that, they're all the same. Speaking of which, we then cut to Fuad making stew out of something that is neither a leg, a heart, a knee, or a brain. Best go out and find some more victims. Oh shit, there's those drums again. That means something really repetitive is about to happen. Let's see, what haven't we severed yet? Oh, a tongue! That'll work. Horror movies in the early 60s couldn't show anything. With all these murders popping up, it makes Suzette question whether or not she still wants to have a party.
I was reading about all those murders, and it sort of takes all the joy out of everything. It's all so strange. I mean, the police not finding any clues or anything.
At least that's how the cue cards are telling you to feel.
Well, I better get going. Tonight is the weekly lecture on ancient history.
And then after that, hopefully it's acting classes. Both Suzette and the detective attend the same Egyptian lecture, which provides us with a flashback of the very first porno set. After the lecture, Detective Thornton and Suzette appear to be sweet on each other. Hopefully he won't dish out any information about the case.
Pete, what do you make of all these murders? Isn't there any clue at all?
And it seems to be an older man that we're looking for.
Or a 20-something-year-old made up to look like an older man. We're not really sure. The two go out for an afternoon drive to have some time alone. Oh, did I say afternoon? I didn't count on it taking him until nightfall to shut the car off. Maybe he could lay on some sweet moves to set the mood.
You know, on second thought, you might be safer with the killer than you are with me.
'Cause I'm gonna tear your eyes out. Well, I guess that line worked until they're interrupted by the radio.
Police say the victim is a young girl, about 23. Identity has not yet been established.
I see no reason to disbelieve that report. After all, the DJ is the movie's director. The detective arrives at the hospital to take a statement from a victim who had her face hacked off. And I guess this is the one effect they couldn't show in the movie, because we have to hear the doctor talk for 5 minutes before finally showing the victim with a bandaged face and 2 whole blood splotches. They better make this quick. She's got to get her revenge against Robert Durant. I guess they forgot to bring the drums to the set on this day, since the soundtrack has been replaced by soothing funeral parlor music. Fuad, however, continues to put his feast together, and the movie must think we'll forget that he worships Ishtar, since it just cuts to her for no reason whatsoever. I can see how easy it would be to forget something in a 67-minute movie. Say, now this part of the movie I like. Oops, forgot to get the whole girl in the shot. Turns out there is more to her than just legs and an ass. We have to hear some of their banter for a bit while Fuad creeps around the house.
Well, you know, Mom knows how interested I've been in Egyptian culture, and how I've been going to these lectures every week. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Yes, so exciting. We're just gonna fade in the middle of your conversation. Sorry, ladies, but you're just not as interesting as Fuad thwopping a girl upside the head. Fuad decides to kidnap this girl instead of killing her right away, since, I don't know, that'll give the third act something to go off of, like whipping her backside. Hey, if you can think of a better way for him to get fake blood off of this whip, then I'd like to hear it. Thank God that this case is so simple that the detective solves it without getting out of his chair. Once Suzette mentions Egyptian catering, Fuad, and Ishtar in the same sentence, the light bulbs finally ignite. It was the dude with the crazy eyes the entire time. Hopefully the police make it there before he finishes cooking a leg. Uh-oh, too late. And it's burnt. If I wanted my foot to taste like ass, I would have just ordered an ass. The cops make it to Fuad's lair, but Fuad has already left with his feast, though he did forget to bring the whipped girl. We get it. The movie's bloody.
Holy smoke, Frank. We gotta get over to the Fremont House. They're having a dinner party tonight. And Fuad Ramses is the caterer. Fuad Ramses?
Wow, that shocked the acting out of him.
Robert Nicholson! Harry, get on that phone!
Wait, who are you talking to? You're the only two cops who arrived at this scene. Anyways, Fuad brings the feast to the party, but first asks Suzette to partake in an ancient Egyptian ritual before dining on his body parts.
This is silly.
Ew, please. Do not break the heart of an old man.
You're my age! He's about to sacrifice Suzette, only she's saved by her mother, who walks in on the two of them. You know, now would be a good time to use your power of hypnotism, which you used in that one scene, and never again afterwards. The cops chase Fuad down the fields, while the detective consoles Suzette.
Forget to have these hamburgers for dinner tonight.
Okay, thank God the mother has her priorities straight. Fuad doesn't make it too far as he hides out in a garbage truck, which, oops. You'd think that'd be the end of the movie, but we have to watch the detective again explain how he figured out Fuad was the killer by remembering details from the Egyptian lecture he attended, which is funny, seeing how Ishtar is an ancient Babylonian goddess and not an Egyptian one. But, you know, details, whatever. Blood Feast is certainly one of the pioneers of exploitation cinema, but regardless if it were a pioneer or a copycat, it's exploitation, so I don't like it. It's part of H.G. Lewis's Blood trilogy, which also includes Color Me Blood Red and 2000 Maniacs. Interesting how it's part of a trilogy that doesn't include its own sequel, which was made almost 40 years later. Yes, you may call this movie a classic or an inspiration to future gore filmmakers, but I side with Variety magazine, who called the film unprofessional. Damn right, because every movie about a serial killer who worships an Egyptian goddess and serves up human remains to customers must be, of all things, professional.
The killer must have thought she was dead. It's a miracle she wasn't.
Well, she is now.
Welcome back to Obscura Slooper Presents. Let's see what happens in Rage and Honor 2. Quick recap of Part 1. Richard Norton plays Preston Michaels, an Australian cop who comes to America, gets framed for murder, and teams up with an inner-city high school teacher to clear his name. Cynthia Rothrock is Chris Fairchild, said inner-city high school teacher who must fight her brother to avenge their sensei's death. She ends up thrown off of a roof, Preston kills her brother, and his name is never cleared, so he has to leave the country. Cut to the sequel, and the two of them team up in Indonesia to fight a gang of money-laundering criminals. If you're wondering if any of the issues from the first film are wrapped up, no they aren't. So let's find out what happens with these two wacky kids. Oh, and by the way, Chris is training to be a government agent. Yeah, she went from a high school teacher to a government agent, and it only took an impossibly short amount of time. We open on Chris as she's trying to defuse a hostage situation, and she seems to be doing pretty well until this happens. Well, this was a short movie.
Game over? Second team in.
It was a training sequence? Well, then why did Chris have to play dead at the end? Oh yeah, to trick the audience. You got me. Also, is this what most government training facilities look like? Graffitied high school gyms filled with workout